Hey guys, Dave here, back again with another Driving Empire video covering yet another new update. As we all know, Driving Empire has recently had its fair share of bad updates, the crate update. But I do have to say the taxi update does seem like a step in the right direction. The core gameplay is actually very similar to the recent winter update, just delivering presents, or passengers in this case, to random destinations across the map, but it does have a slight and welcome twist to it. Instead of constantly traveling to one hub in the map to start the deliveries, like in the winter update, there's a bunch of passengers that spawn all around the map, all of which have different ratings. The game calls these ratings difficulties, but I haven't found any difference in the difficulty between higher and lower rated passengers. The only difference seems to be the amount of money you're paid based on the general rating, which you can tell by the color above a passenger before picking them up. Green rated passengers pay you the least, while red rated passengers pay you the most. The amount of money you get also depends on the star rating of your ride, which is the actual important part of this update. Each ride starts with a maxed out bar at 3 stars, which slowly decreases as time passes, but also if you crash. That means that you have to drive fast enough while also being careful not to crash because your rating falls really quickly if you crash. It seems like a fairly simple system, but I've found it to be pretty inconsistent. The bar occasionally decreases far quicker for some passengers than others, regardless of their difficulty, occasionally giving you almost no chance to get a 3-star delivery. You'll also occasionally notice passengers getting annoyed as if you've crashed, even if you've done nothing wrong. Now, this is probably due to lag, so there's not much that can be done against that. Even if you don't have any lag, the crash detection can be inconsistent. Sometimes you're punished for crashes that don't seem bad at all, yet some bigger crashes won't affect you at all. Luckily, crashing into curbs doesn't affect you because they're really tall considering how low most cars in the game are. As I've said before, stars are the most important thing in this update. That means you'll mostly want to focus on getting the maximum amount of stars for each ride, since earning stars is also the way you unlock all of the content, and the money you get from rides isn't great regardless of what passenger type you have. That brings me on to the most disappointing thing about the update, which is the sheer lack of content. It's a 7-day event with a whopping 3 vehicles. You unlock all of them after getting certain amounts of stars. Like, sure, it's cool to have a taxi and a bus added to the game, but the models aren't exactly mind-blowing, and it's simply disappointing considering how big of a deal the devs made this update look like. There's also no talks of adding more cars throughout the event, but I could be wrong and I really hope I am. It takes you like 2 hours to get all of the cars which were added, which is absolutely pathetic compared to previous events. It also just doesn't line up with the promises that were made when the Voldex collaboration was first announced. They mentioned more updates that were also bigger, but this doesn't really seem like a much bigger update than anything we've had before. The only big update since Voldex came in was the housing update, but that update was in the making for months before they came in. Overall, the update isn't bad. The idea is great, but it's really held back by the lack of content. I hope that the devs do continue going in this direction, because this is a lot more interesting than just having generic Halloween and Christmas events like we had for the past few years, because it has a really cool spin to it unlike the events we've had previously. And yeah, that's it for me, and I'll see you whenever I decide to upload again.